Donald Trump has been found guilty. 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 Woo-hoo-hoo! This is crazy. Meow, meow, meow. Okay. Okay. Okay.
Good
meow.
evening. First and foremost, I want to thank the jury for its service. Jurors perform a fundamental civic duty. Their service is literally the cornerstone of our judicial system. We should all be thankful for the careful attention that this jury paid to the evidence and the law and their time and commitment over these past several weeks. 12 everyday New Yorkers, and of course, our alternates, heard testimony from 22 witnesses, including former
12 disciples,
employees of the defendant, media executives, book publishers, custodians of records, and others. They reviewed call logs, text messages, and emails. They heard recordings. They saw checks and invoices, bank statements, and calendar appointments. This type of white-collar prosecution is core to what we do at the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. In the 1930s, District Attorney Thomas Dewey ushered in the era of the modern, independent professional prosecutor. For now nearly 90 years, dedicated professionals in this office have built upon that fine tradition. A major part of our practice during that nearly 90 years has been public integrity work, including cases involving jurists, local and state electeds, public servants, and others. I want to thank this phenomenal prosecution team, embodying the finest traditions of this office: professionalism, integrity, dedication, and service. They are model public servants, and I am proud and humbled to serve side by side with them. The 12 everyday jurors vowed to make a decision based on the evidence and the law, and the evidence and the law alone. Their deliberations led them to a unanimous conclusion beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant, Donald J. Trump, is guilty of 34 counts of falsifying business records in the first degree to conceal a scheme to corrupt the 2016 election. And while this defendant may be unlike any other in American history, we arrived at this trial and ultimately today at this verdict in the same manner as every other case that comes through the courtroom doors, by following the facts and the law, and doing so without fear or favor. I want to conclude by expressing deep gratitude to the NYPD and the officers of the Office of Court Administration for securing the courthouse, all of our safety, making sure the courthouse and all of the other matters that are important in their own right continued seamlessly. They will continue to be and have always been incredible partners. Thank you.
Do you plan to request a prison sentence? Donald Trump's multiple violations of the gag order that was in place should factor into that request at all?
The judge scheduled a sentencing for July 11th.
Woo-hoo-hoo!
We will speak in court in that time. He also set a motion schedule. We will speak in our court filings as we've done throughout this proceeding.
Did y'all hear that? July 11th. Sentencing. I hope they got security. Meow. I hope they got security. Meow. Meow. I hope they got security, people. Okay. Like on some real talk. because
I did my job.
11
Our job is to follow the facts and the law without fear or favor. And that's exactly what we did here. And what I feel is just gratitude to work alongside phenomenal public servants who do that each and every day in matters that you all write about and make the press, and in lots of matters that you don't. I did my job. We did our job. Many voices out there. The only voice that matters is the voice of the jury, and the jury has spoken.
Last, Mr. Steinglass, many people said the prosecution was masterful and flawless. Just want to know how you feel at this moment. How do you feel?
Mr. Steinglass, I think some of you probably saw him speak for a little bit the other day. So he's done his job, as has this team. And he just told me, tell him how I feel. I think you said that. I will just say enormous gratitude.
They're just thanking folks at this moment in time. So there's 34 counts, okay? There's 34 counts. So we would actually have to look up each count and what it could possibly carry. So based on the count will be based on the number of years that particular count would carry. Sometimes they could say it can go concurrently, meaning at the same dang time. At the same dang time, or it can be back to back. I'm not trying to laugh, guys, but this is just like blowing my mind right now. Okay. But yes, on July 11th, he is going up for sentencing, y'all. Okay. Sentencing. July 11th. Okay. But 34 counts can still total a whole lot of time, even if he runs concurrent. Correct. What if they're 5 years apiece? Okay. You're talking 162. That's a fast sentencing. No, that's a month later. That's literally 5.5 weeks, 6 weeks later. So that's actually not fast. That's not fast. Again, he was privileged because they could have took him into custody at that moment in time, and they did not. Okay, hold on. Let's see what he's saying real quick, because I want to go back and read more about the juries for you guys.
Other phases of this going ahead, we will continue to do our speaking about this matter, about issues like that in court.
From day one, kind of the viability of this case has been questioned in all sorts of media outlets, all over the place, including from the defendant himself. Can you respond to any of that? How you feel now that you've gotten the conviction?
So my response again is I did my job, and I think particularly I talked about the history of the office. My personal history. I started as a prosecutor in 2003 in the Public Integrity Unit in the New York State Attorney General's office. I served also in the Public Integrity Unit in the Southern District of New York. These are kind of cases I've done personally, and it's a hallmark of the tradition of this office that I'm proud to lead.
Okay, that's good enough for me. Let's go and read about the rest of the jurors. Like what was the make of some of these jurors on here? So I read you the first two. On the third one, this is what I was trying to tell you guys. This is what makes it very interesting. And it makes it compelling to the point of, did he have anything to do with the swaying of the other jurors? Were any of these jurors swayed? Juror number 3 is one of 2 corporate lawyers on the panel. They live in upscale Chelsea neighborhood, but are originally from Oregon. They said they are not super familiar with the other cases against Trump and do not follow the news closely, but occasionally read New York Times and Wall Street Journal. Juror number 4, a California native who lived in West Village with a spouse and 3 children. Juror number 4 works as a security engineer for 25 years. They have a high school degree and attended some college. They do not have social media and get their news from various sources. Juror number 5 is a self-identified person of color and lifelong New Yorker who lives in Harlem. So we already know that person black, okay? Or Puerto Rican, okay? We already know that. Or Dominican, okay? All right. They have a master's degree in education and have been an English teacher for the past 8 years. They said they do not care for news and get most of their information from Google and TikTok. Juror number 6, a native New Yorker, juror 6, has bachelor's degree and works for a software engineer work as a software engineer for a large media and entertainment company. They said they get their news from TikTok and this. All right. Now, juror number 7 is an attorney for a large corporate law firm who is originally from North Carolina, but has lived in the Upper East Side for 12 years, okay? For 12 years. They have a bachelor's degree in business and law degree. All right, so juror number 8, originally from Lebanon, juror 8 lives in Upper East Side since 1980s. The juror is retired, but previously worked as a wealth manager for a major financial firm and still consults on his clients. He gets his news from New York Times, Wall Street, BBC, and CNBC. Juror number 9 was has lived in Upper East Side for 3 years, but grew up in New Jersey. They have a bachelor's degree and a master's degree and have worked as a speech therapist for 5 years. The juror said they do not follow news closely, but occasionally listen to New York Times and CNN podcasts. So we already know where they kind of lean because, well, if you were part of CNN beforehand, because they've been kind of leaning to the right, they're, to the left or they're in the middle. All right. So juror number 11 has lived in Upper Manhattan for 15 years, but is originally from California. They have worked as a product development manager for a multinational apparel company for 20 years. The juror said they do not follow news closely except through Google and some industry-specific publications. Ms. Brenda's sitting up here saying, hey, the judge was biased. They all were. Yeah, because he like, whoa, if they don't find him guilty and then he get elected, I don't want him to be coming after me. That's my opinion. That is super duper important to the make as to why he was convicted. Did they have some of the same beliefs as he did? All right, so juror number 12 has lived in Upper East Side nearly 3 years and previously lived in Minnesota and several other states. They have a bachelor's degree and a doctorate in physical therapy and have worked as a physical therapist for 15 years. The juror gets their news from New York Times, USA Today, and CNN. And they also listen to podcasts and religious sports. So this gives you guys the make of who the jurors are, all right? Which is super duper important because in order for them to say there's some type of mistrial, every single one of these individuals are professionals. They're professionals, meaning they either done some business, they're part of large corporations. There ain't no mistrial. They found you guilty of 34 counts. Now, the only thing I definitely would say is they should have locked his ass up. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what my Magna friends say. Lock his ass up, because if it was a person of color, he would have gone to jail right then and there. The cuffs would have been on him and he would have been going to Rikers Island. They would have been fingerprinting him. They would have did the perp walk. They would have did it all. All right. So the dude is guilty. And again, is this going to rally his base? Will this rally his base? Okay.